Hi guys, it's Claire. Sorry to have to do this, but I am broadcasting from my cell phone. Yay. I bought a brand new video camera for me to be able to, do better videos and do them more often and go to different places. Like I'm sitting out here right now, getting my hair dry, and it's just about dry. But anyway, I bought this new video camera and promptly lost the cords that allowed me to attach it and upload it to my computer or to even charge it. So I am very discouraged. I'm also very discouraged. This is the third time I have tried this video and the camera has cut off, and because I've gone on too long. So I'm going to cover everything very quickly. I'm assuming it's because I've gone on too long and my camera doesn't have any more memory. So, there's been a lot that's happened. It's now June 1st, and I haven't done a video in a long time. And I've had a few people remind me that it was time for me to do a new one. So I am. I generally forget until someone asks me. So a lot has happened. This is a really tough time of year for me. For many, the spring is a time of rebirth and renewal, and for many others, it is a time of grief, and for me, that's what it is. This is the time period from when Michael asked for the divorce, and then we signed the papers, which was actually the worst of it, and then he actually finalized the divorce. And it is also the time, the anniversary of my mother's death in a few days, and even though she's been gone for 7 years, I still miss her so much, and I wish I had her to talk to. Anyway, I am extremely worried about Airbnbs, or about my hosting Fern Gully on Airbnb, because I've not had any bookings for the summer. I do have a tentative booking for next weekend, which is great. That'll get me about $240 after Airbnb takes their fees out. And that's about almost half of the cost of seeing Kim at the Gemsit Clinic. So I'm going to have to book more so I can afford even the appointment, let alone the travel. I used to drive, but especially with Michael, but now when I'm alone, I have to skip my medications so that I'm legal and able to drive, and the pain is just too intense. I can't do it. So I have to fly, and it's like $600 to fly, so that's another several bookings I need. So if you're going on vacation, hey, come into Gatlinburg, please consider me. Anyway, I'm listed as Lovely Cabin by the River, and it's called Fern Gully. So anyway, if you want to rent or have friends that want to rent up here, please look me up. Anyway, so the cost is becoming an issue. Since last year, and I think I've talked about this before, so I'm going to go really quickly over it. I was hospitalized because my PICC line went septic, and I went into stage 4 kidney failure and was very, very sick, and had a ridiculous amount of hospitalization fees, and had a transesophageal echocardiogram, which is extremely expensive as well. And since then I've paid those bills off, which is great, but that took a lot more out of me. And so I am beyond broke, and which many Lyme patients are. So I've been really reliant on Airbnb and really hoping that I would get more. I did really well in the fall of last year. I have a 5-star rating, so I'm hoping that will help build business a little bit. But as for right now, I'm very worried. But I've also, one thing I've started doing though is making baskets, and as soon as I have enough of those, I'm going to put them up on Etsy, the website for arts and natural crafts. I'm really enjoying that and hoping that that will pay off a little bit of extra income. I like it because it puts me in a place of Zen, which is a place of now, and mindfulness, and it takes me away from other things. Like, it keeps my mind active because I have to weave correctly. It keeps my hands active because I have to weave correctly. It makes me concentrate because I have to weave correctly and follow what I'm doing, and follow the pattern. And so it puts me in a place of mindfulness and a place of now, which is also known as a place of Zen. And it simply takes the past away and the future away, because neither exist. They're either over or they haven't happened yet. And that's the whole idea behind Zen and mindfulness. And strangely enough, when it got really tough, I abandoned my faith, which many other Buddhists I know say the same thing. And, we abandon it when we need it most. And it happens to a lot of new practitioners. And though I've been practicing for 13 years, believe me when I tell you that's considered a newbie, a big newbie. Anyway, I am, or was, considering quitting treatment altogether. Again, like I said before, I'm being treated only for not getting worse. I'm not being treated for getting better. So the treatment, of course, is just going on and on and on and on and on. And it feels like there's no end in sight. And they're doing this because my system is just too delicate, and because it's in my limbic system, it affects my emotions, and obviously I'm in a delicate place emotionally anyway. And if they add detox and releasing toxins into that limbic system, and which controls the emotions, it's going to get really bad. And I know you may have seen that video where I was crying for no reason, uncontrollably. Not for, I just don't know what reason, but literally no reason. And I did that in the doctor's office, and Kim said, "I'll be right back." And of course, then Dr. Jemzik himself comes in, and I'm thinking, "Oh crap, what's he going to tell me?" And he said, "This is perfectly normal behavior because your limbic system is being affected. Basically your brain is on fire, and these emotional outbreaks of rage and crying and all that is entirely normal, and it is entirely normal for there to be no reason, because the reason is your brain is on fire, and that's the reason they're not treating me more aggressively, because of that situation, and me being alone. There's a lot of that. So anyway, like I said, I last time I went, I was considering giving up treatment altogether because I saw no end in sight and not getting better, and it made no sense. I was losing all my money, losing hope, everything all at once. And I'm sure a lot of that came from a place of depression, both situational and clinical. But then I realized, I'm an entirely non-compliant patient. I'm not doing any of the shit they're telling me to do. I'm not sleeping the 8 to 10 hours a night I'm supposed to, much less. I am not following the medical, taking medicines on time. I'm forgetting entire dosages. Especially like sometimes forgetting my antibiotics. Things like that. So, those are big issues, and those are not their fault. They're my fault. And, until I straighten that out, how can I possibly affect this, imagine this treatment to have any effect whatsoever? The single biggest issue, she said, right now is nutrition. I said earlier in another video that after Michael left, I lost 40 pounds in like 2.5 to 3 months. And when they saw me, they were quite upset. And you know, they were quite upset. But I told them that I just could not stand the idea of gaining weight. They wanted me to gain weight. They wanted me to gain the 40 pounds and then more. You know, nutrition, fine. Gaining weight, I'm not fine. And, you know, both Dr. Jemzik and Kim, the PA, have diagnosed me with anorexia nervosa, and which incidentally is known as a symptom of late stage Lyme, which I had no idea. But you know, I can't stand it. I can't stand the idea of gaining weight, and it makes me sabotage myself. And once again, I'm not going to get better until I figure this shit out and get my shit in order. It's that simple. It's just that simple. And you know, though my face looks fine, and you will see in the video, I appear fine. Videos, number one, put 10 pounds on you, and number two, underneath, my clothes, you see my scapula, you can see my clavicles, you can see my sternum, you can see my ribs from the back, and God help me, I like that. I like that I can feel all of these bones and where they join, and that I know in my rational mind that it's not normal or healthy, but I want that, and I can't stand it. And so I've set alarms to remind me when to eat and take medicines, and constantly find myself, when that alarm goes off, in fact I did it just a minute ago, I find myself thinking, I could skip that meal. I could get away with it. I'm strong enough. I'll skip it. And then skipping the next one. And the next one. And then having an energy bar and going, that's enough. And then wondering, why am I so fatigued? Hello? I've got Lyme and I'm not eating. I'm eating like 300 calories a day. But I can't help it. I just can't help it. And it's been awful. And I've had to do some landscaping, some serious landscaping, because I can't afford to have someone do it. And though they cleared me to do light exercise, like walking and light yoga, I have moved roughly, and I'm not kidding, roughly 1.5 tons of dirt, probably 1.5 tons of dirt, and probably 2 tons of rock, using a spade and a broken wheelbarrow, and that's it. And then lugging it all up a hill, about this gradient, so much that like sometimes the wheelbarrow would drag me backwards, things like that. So she was like, I didn't clear you for that, but she also recognizes that I'm in a critical situation as far as getting this house going, and that she understands that, but that just makes nutrition all the more important, and caloric intake the more important. And I swear to you, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. And I've not weighed myself, but I am definitely losing more. I'm not gaining at all. I'm losing more, and I like that. My rational mind goes, oh no, and then my anorexic mind goes, baby, I've gained, but I've, started to have these folds that, have nothing to do with, woo, couldn't resist. They don't really have a lot to do with age. It's just, there's nothing in there. And then, around here, there's just nothing in there. But I still like it, and I can't help it, and I know it's unattractive, and I still can't help it. I don't know what the hell that is. I just don't know. And, my therapist and I have been going over this really interesting concept that I think is really going to help me and going to make sense. And it's this concept that we're all made of parts. Different parts of us come together to make one person. And, you know, we've always said, well, part of me wants to do this, but part of me wants to do that. Well, she's actually thinking, this is the philosophy is that we have definitive parts, you know, that you can actually define and separate and then accept, nurture, and then bring back together into one person, kind of like Sybil. Even though it came out Sybil made it up, but you know what I'm talking about. So, right now, the strongest part of me is quite obviously self-sabotage. And can't get through one video without one of these. I've not been able to quit since Michael left me. I've tried it many times. I know it's bad for me, especially in my brain. Smoking, actually, each cigarette for that time that you smoke deprives the brain of oxygen. I've done some research. And the limbic system needs extra essential oxygen because as a symptom of the disease, it is getting low oxygen anyway, low oxygenation. And this just doubles it, essentially. So it actually makes your limbic system more blah, 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 blah. And I mean that literally. Blah, 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 blah. I can hear it. No, I'm just kidding. So that self-sabotage is not new. It's been there since day one of my life. And I apologize in advance if anyone from my friends of family or family see this, because they don't know this. But a lot of that self-sabotage comes from my dad. And my dad was a very loved, beloved, and wonderful man in public. In private, he was very different where I was concerned. And I've never told anyone. It was rough growing up, and it is part of the problem that I have with food and self-image, and it's fed that self-sabotage for my whole life. So I don't know how to deal with that, or what's going to happen when I try. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So right now, I am working on trying to get those parts together, working on trying to be a more compliant patient, and I think it will come from getting those parts together and from dealing with or learning about that self-sabotage. And learning to join it with my incredibly strong sense of compassion. It's always been said that compassion begins with the self, which is actually a saying that comes from the Buddha. And, you know, compassion is the center of my faith, and most faiths, actually. In fact, all the major faiths. But, you know, how can I really give that compassion, full compassion that I want to, if I don't have compassion for myself? Because right now I have none. None. I do not like myself. I do not like where I am, who I am. Nothing. Except for that compassion part. I like that. And unfortunately, I like being too thin. So that's something to stop liking. So, until I get my shit in order, I'm going to trust the doctors like I always have, and do what they say as best I can, bit by bit by bit, and keep making my baskets, which, like I said, if I said before, I'm going to put up on Etsy as soon as I have a few, and I will let you know what that website is, and I sure hope that you will find them attractive enough that you'll want to buy one, because that's my other source of income. So please travel here if you do, and or tell your friends to look me up on Airbnb. and also to, and I will see if I can work the website in from this phone. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll try. And as soon as I get the website going on Etsy, I will let you know. And that's all I've got for now. As Forrest Gump said, that's all I'm going to say about that. Bye.